Welcome to the Chinese Lore Podcast, where I retell classic Chinese stories in English. This is episode 21 of Journey to the West. Last time, while crossing a mountain called Yellow Wind Ridge, the pilgrims hit a snag when Sanzang fell into the clutches of a demon named Lord Yellowwind, who was going to eat him. Sanzang's two disciples, Sun Wukong and Zhu Bajie, found the demon's cave and killed Yellowwind's vanguard general. Then, Wukong went back to the cave to take on Yellowwind himself. Yellowwind came out with his gaggle of lackeys and shouted, "Which one is Sun Wukong?" Wukong was like, I'm the only one here. "I am your granddaddy Sun," he shouted back. "Send my master out at once." Yellowwind sized up Wukong's slight frame and chuckled. "Oh pity, I thought you were some stout hero. Turns out, you're just a sick skeleton." "Son, you must be blind," Wukong laughed back. "Your granddaddy may be small, but if you hit me on the head with your trident handle, I will grow 3 feet. "Well then, hold your head up and take this," Yellowwind said as he raised the handle of his trident and brought it down on Wukong's head. Wukong didn't even flinch, and when the handle hit his head, he indeed sprouted 3 feet. Yellowwind was stunned. "Sun Wukong, why are you playing around with this defensive trick? Come and show me your fighting skills." "Oh son," Wukong chuckled. "As the old saying goes, if you want to show mercy, then hold back your hand. But if you raise your hand, then show no mercy. Your granddaddy's attacks are really powerful. I worry that you can't take a blow from my rod." But Yellowwind blew off that warning and stabbed at Wukong with his trident. Wukong was entirely unconcerned. He raised his rod and, with a move called Black Dragon Sweeping the Land, parried the strike and swung at Yellowwind. The two now went back and forth. They fought for 30-some exchanges without a winner. Wukong was eager to finish the fight, so he pulled off a handful of his own hairs, chewed them up, sprayed them out, and shouted, "Change!" The hairs morphed into more than 100 clones of Sun Wukong. They were all dressed alike, and each wielded a steel rod as they encircled Yellowwind. The demon was intimidated, so he too pulled out a trick. He turned toward the southeast, opened his mouth 3 times, and blew out a breath. All of a sudden, a wild yellow gale whipped up. It was so strong that it would have struck fear into the hearts of gods, and it sent all the Sun Wukong doppelgangers swirling in the air. Wukong quickly retracted all his hairs and charged toward Yellowwind alone. But before he could get close, Yellowwind blew another gust of yellow wind right in his face. It was so strong that it agitated Wukong's fiery golden eyes. Now remember, Wukong got those fiery golden eyes from the days that he spent roasting in Lao Tzu's sacred oven. He got supernatural vision out of it, but it also made his eyes susceptible to wind. And now, he couldn't even open them, much less fight. So, he beat a hasty retreat, while Yellowwind went back into his own cave. Meanwhile, Wukong's fellow disciple Zhu Bajie was staying with the horse and luggage in a canyon a little ways off. He saw a wild yellow wind blow through, darkening the heavens. He immediately hit the ground, covered his head, and closed his eyes while muttering prayers to Buddha. After a while, the wind died down and the sky cleared. He poked his head up and looked in the direction of the cave. He did not see any fighting over there, nor did he hear any drums or gongs. He was curious what happened, but he also did not dare to approach the cave. He also didn't want to leave the horse and luggage, so he was not quite sure what to do. Now, here's one of those spots where it would be helpful to remind everyone that, hey, your horse is actually a sentient dragon who, 1, doesn't need a babysitter, and 2, might be able to help a bit. But before we could dig too deep into that plot hole, Sun Wukong showed up from the west, shouting Bajie's name. Bajie greeted him and asked where he was coming from. "Never in my life have I seen such a strong wind," Wukong exclaimed. "That demon fought me with a trident. After 30-some exchanges, I created some doppelgangers to surround him. He panicked and summoned this wind. What a vicious wind! I couldn't even stand still, so I had to retreat. What a wind! I mean, I know how to summon the rain and wind too, but not like this." "Brother, how were that demon's fighting skills?" Bajie asked. Not bad. He's pretty handy with a trident and fought me to a standstill. It's just hard to beat them with that wind. Then how can we rescue our master? Well, that can wait, Wukong said. We need to find an eye doctor first to treat my eyes. What happened to your eyes? That demon blew a gust of wind right in my face and made my eyes itch and tear up like crazy. Brother, we're on a mountain, and it's late. We don't even have anywhere to sleep, much less find an eye doctor. It's not hard to find lodging. I bet that demon won't dare to harm our master yet. Let's find the main road and find a household to seek lodging for the night. Then, tomorrow morning, we can come back to tame that demon. Ba Jie agreed, so he picked up the luggage and took the horse's reins. The two left the canyon and traveled along the main road. As dusk approached, they heard the sound of dogs barking from the southern slope of the ridge. They went that way and found the manor with some candlelights within. They went up to the manor and saw that it sat within some serene, lush woods. They called out, and an old man, accompanied by a few younger farmhands, came out with rakes and pitchforks in hand to see who it was. Wukong bowed and said, "We are disciples of a sage monk from the Great Tang Kingdom in the east. We were heading west to see the Buddha and request scriptures. When passing through this mountain, that Lord Yellowwind abducted our master. We haven't been able to save him. It was getting late, so we came to ask for lodging for just tonight. Please help us out." "Oh, greetings," the old man said courteously. "This is a remote place, so when you called out, we were afraid that it was demons, wild beasts, or bandits. That's why we showed up like this. We didn't realize you were monks. Please, come in, come in." So Wukong and Ba Jie entered. They hitched the horse, set down their luggage, and sat down with their host. The old man served them tea and a few bowls of sesame rice. After that, he told his farmhands to prepare beds for their guests. "Sleep is of no concern," Wukong said. "But benefactor, is there anyone in this area who sells eye medicine?" "Which one of you has an eye ailment?" the old man asked. "To tell you the truth, we monks are naturally free of illness and don't have any eye ailments." "Then why do you need eye medicine?" "When we were trying to save our master at Yellow Wind Cave today, that demon blew a gust of wind at me and it made my eyes itch and tear up. They won't stop watering, so I need to find some medicine." "Mercy, mercy," the old man said. "Elder, you're not that old, so why do you lie? That Lord Yellowwind wields the most vicious winds. It's not a normal wind." Ba Jie chimed in and asked, "So it's like a brain pinch wind, a sheep ear wind, a great hemp wind, or a one-sided head wind?" And by the way, those were all colloquial terms for a headache, an ear ailment, leprosy, and migraine. But the old man said, "No, no, no. He wields something called the three-flavored divine wind." "What is that?" Wukong asked. "That wind can block out heaven and earth, and make gods and ghosts tremble. It can shatter rocks and cliffs, and it can blow someone to death. If you encounter his wind, how could you still be alive? Unless you're gods or immortals, you must be lying." "No, no, that's just it. We may not be gods or immortals, but they are our descendants," Wukong said. "The wind didn't kill me, but it made my eyes itch and water." "Ah, so you must have some skills," the old man said. "Well, there's no one around here who sells eye medicine, but my eyes also tear up a bit when winds blow. I once encountered an uncommon man who gave me a prescription called the 3 Flowers and 9 Seeds ointment. It can treat all types of watery eyes caused by wind." Wukong now bowed and asked for some of this very convenient and purpose-specific ointment. The old man went to the back and came out with a small jug. He opened the stopper and used a jade pin to scoop out some ointment and spread it on Wukong's eyes. He told Wukong to keep his eyes shut and go to sleep, and that his eyes will feel better in the morning. He then packed up the jug and let his farmhands out, leaving their guests to rest. Ba Jie now opened their bundle, spread out their blankets, and asked Wukong to sleep. Wukong, with his eyes shut, groped around. Ba Jie chuckled. "Hey, mister, where's your walking stick?" "You idiot," Wukong scoffed. "Stop treating me like I'm blind." Ba Jie quietly snickered under his breath and went to sleep. Wukong sat down in his bed, meditated for a while, and only lay down after midnight. When 5 a.m. rolled around, Wukong felt his face and opened his eyes. What great medicine! I can see so much better now, he exclaimed. He then turned and looked around and, where did the house go? Instead of the manor, they were sleeping on lichen-covered ground under a cluster of tall trees. Ba Jie now woke up and grumbled. Brother, what are you going on about? Open your eyes and take a look. Ba Jie sat up, saw where they were, and scrambled to his feet. Where's our horse? He's hitched to a tree. And our luggage? Next to your head? What's up with those people? If you were going to move, you could have at least given us a holler. Hell, I could have given you a little tea or fruit as a housewarming gift. They must owe taxes and were afraid the village head would find out, so they moved in the middle of the night. We must have been out like a light. How come we didn't even hear anything while they were tearing down their house? Wukong laughed out loud and said, Dum-dum, stop your nonsense. Go check out that piece of paper on the tree. Ba Jie went over, pulled off the paper, and saw that there were 4 lines written on it. They said, This manor is no mortal home. It's the abode of Dharma guardians and temple spirits. I offer you a wondrous medicine to heal your eye pain. Give your all to subdue the demon. Do not hesitate. Ah, that group of guardian spirits, Wukong said. I hadn't called them since we got the dragon horse, but they've shown up unsummoned. Brother, stop acting like a big shot, Ba Jie scoffed. Why would they listen to your summon? Brother, you don't understand. These guardians were commanded by the Bodhisattva to protect our master in secret. They introduced themselves once before, but ever since we added you, we hadn't needed them, so I haven't summoned them. Well, since they were ordered to protect our master in secret, that must be why they couldn't show their true form. So they created the fake manor. Don't hold it against them. Besides, last night they treated your eyes and fed us dinner. They've done their duty. Let them be. And let's go save our master. You're quite right. We're not far from the Yellow Wind Cave. You just stay here in the woods and guard the horse and luggage. Let me go to the cave to find news on our master. And then we can fight that demon again. Okay, I'll wait here, Ba Jie said. But you have to find out for sure whether master is alive or dead. If he's dead, then we should go our separate ways. But if he's not dead, then we must do our utmost. Cut it out with your speculations, Wukong said. I'm off. He now flew to the cave and found guards out front, so he transformed into a tiny mosquito. In front of the doors, he found the demon lackey snoring away. Wukong landed on his face and bit him. The lackey turned and moaned, Ow! Some big mosquito left a huge bite on my face. But then he saw that it was light out, so he opened the doors to the cave, which allowed Wukong to enter. Inside the cave, he saw Yellow Wind instructing his lackeys to maintain a tight watch and prepare their weapons, telling them, I worry that Wind yesterday didn't kill Sun Wukong. If so, he will come back for sure today. When he does, I will finish him off. Wukong now flew through the main hall and into the back of the cave. There, he saw a tightly shut door, but he found a crack and slipped through. On the other side of the door was a large empty courtyard. On a column by the wall, he saw his master, Sanzang, tightly bound and weeping as he wondered where his disciples went. Wukong now landed on Sanzang's bald head and called out to him. Sanzang recognized his voice and said, Wukong, I have been thinking about you non-stop. Where are you? I'm on your head, master. Don't worry, and don't be impatient. We must capture the demon before we can save you. But when will you be able to apprehend that demon? Ba Jie has already killed the tiger demon that abducted you, but the demon leader's wind powers are a handful. Still, I should be able to take him down today. Don't worry, and don't cry. I'm off. As Wukong flew back into the front of the cave, he saw Yellow Wind doing a roll call with his various lackey leaders. Then, a lackey rushed in and reported, My lord, I was out on patrol. I had barely left the cave when I saw a monk with a long snout and huge ears sitting in the woods. If I hadn't been quick on my feet, he would have caught me. But I didn't see that hairy-faced monk from yesterday. So Sun Wukong isn't around. He must have been killed by the wind yesterday. Or he might have gone off to find reinforcements. The lackey said, If the wind had killed him, then we're in luck. But if he didn't die and comes back with a divine army, what should we do? Oh, who's afraid of divine armies? Yellow Wind scoffed. Only the Bodhisattva Lingji can counter my wind. No one else is of any concern. Why, how very tropey of you to loudly mention the one person that can defeat you. Wukong got what he came for, so he flew out of the cave, reverted to his true form, and returned to the forest. He met up with Ba Jie, who recounted how he had just chased off a demon lackey. Wukong laughed and said, "It's all thanks to you. I turned into a mosquito and went to the cave to find our master. He's tied up against a column and weeping. I told him to stop crying. Then I sat on the beam and listened. That lackey rushed in and reported about how you had chased him, but that he didn't see me. Yellowwind was guessing that I might have gone to find reinforcements, and then he let slip a name." "Who?" "He said that only the Bodhisattva Lingji can quell his wind. But where does that Lingji live?" As they were talking, an old man suddenly appeared along the main road. Ba Jie said, "Brother, as the old saying goes, if you want to know the way off the mountain, you must ask a passerby. Go ask him." So Wukong put away his rod, tidied up his clothes, went up to the old man and said, "Old sir, how are you?" The old man half-heartedly returned his greetings and asked, "Monk, where are you from? What are you doing here in the wilderness?" "We're scripture pilgrims. Yesterday we lost our master, so I have come to ask you if you know where the Bodhisattva Lingji resides." Well, that's a really odd question to ask a random passerby. But this guy apparently knew. "Lingji lives about 2,000 miles due south of here," the old man said. "There's a mountain called Little Mount Sumeru. There's a Dharma hall in the mountain. That's the temple where the Bodhisattva teaches Buddhism. Are you all going to ask for his scriptures?" No, but I have a request for him. How do I get there?" Wukong asked. The old man pointed south and said, "Just follow this winding path." While Wukong looked in the direction he pointed in, the old man suddenly morphed into a clear breeze and vanished. In his wake, there was only a piece of paper with 4 lines of verse, which said, "A word for the great sage equal to heaven. I am Li Changgeng. On Mount Sumeru, there is the flying dragon staff. Lingji once received the sacred Buddhist weapon." Wukong took the paper and started down the path, but Ba Jie asked him, "Brother, what bad luck? It's like we've been seeing ghosts these last couple days. Who was that old man that vanished into the wind?" Wukong handed him the letter. Ba Jie read it and wondered aloud. "Who is this Li Changgeng?" "That's Venus's name," Wukong explained. Ba Jie immediately fell to his knees and kowtowed toward the sky, declaring, "Savior, Savior, if Venus hadn't spoken out on my behalf to the Jade Emperor, my life would have been forfeit." So, if you remember from a couple episodes back, when we were recounting Zhu Bajie's backstory, Venus was the one who pleaded for mercy on Ba Jie's behalf when the latter had his Me Too scandal in heaven. Thanks to Venus, he got off with, a severe beating and being cast out of heaven and into a pig's womb. Anyway, Wukong now told Ba Jie, "Don't show yourself. Just hide in the woods and keep watch over the horse and luggage. Let me go to Mount Sumeru to ask the Bodhisattva for help." "Will do. Just hurry. I'll act like a turtle for now and keep my head tucked in." So Wukong took to the air and flew toward the south. In the blink of an eye, he had arrived on a tall mountain, enveloped in colorful clouds and mist. In a crevice in the mountain, he found a temple, from which the sounds of bells echoed and the smoke of incense drifted. Wukong went to the entrance and saw a Taoist wearing a string of beads around his neck and muttering Buddhist scripture. Wukong greeted him, and the Taoist returned the greeting and asked where he's from. "Is this where the Bodhisattva Lingji teaches?" Wukong asked. "Indeed, what do you need?" the Taoist asked. "May I trouble you to announce me? I am Sun Wukong, the great sage equal to heaven and a disciple of the hierarch Sanzang and imperial brother of the emperor of the great Tang kingdom in the east." The Taoist chuckled. "Sir, I can't remember all that." "Then just say the Tang monk's disciple, Sun Wukong." The Taoist announced him as instructed, and the Bodhisattva Lingji came out to greet him, cloaked in a cassock and holding incense. And by the way, as far as I could find, it seems that this Lingji was a creation of this novel, and there doesn't seem to be a real equivalent for him in the real Buddhist canon. Anyway, once they sat down, Lingji offered tea, but Wukong said, Forget the tea. My master is in trouble at Yellow Wind Mountain, so I have come to ask you to use your great powers to tame the demon and save my master. Ling Ji replied, I was commanded by the Buddha to tame the Yellow Wind demon. The Buddha gave me a wind-calming pearl and a flying dragon staff. I had captured him, but I spared his life and allowed him to live in seclusion on the condition that he not harm the living. But who knew that he would disobey that command and try to harm your master? It's all my fault. Ling Ji now tried to ask Wukong to stay for a meal before resuming his mission, but Wukong was understandably in a hurry, so Ling Ji fetched his flying dragon staff and flew with Wukong back to Yellow Wind Ridge. Great sage, Ling Ji said, that demon is a bit afraid of me, so I'll stay up here in the clouds. You go and lure him out to fight, and then I can use my powers. So Wukong descended, took out his rod, and smashed the doors to the cave, shouting, Demon, return my master! The lackeys at the door rushed inside to report, and Yellowwind was irate. That damn monkey is too rude, he cursed. He even smashed my door? This time I'm going to kill him with my wind. So he donned his armor, grabbed his trident, and came out. He didn't even bother trading insults this time, and instead just stabbed at Wukong. The two went at it for a few, and then Yellowwind turned to his wind power again. But just as he was about to summon his wind, Ling Ji cast down the flying dragon staff from the air and muttered an incantation. The staff turned into a golden dragon with 8 claws. It grabbed Yellowwind by the head with its 2 front claws and banged him against the side of a cliff a few times, like the Hulk roughing up Loki. This smackdown forced Yellowwind to show his true form, that of a yellow-furred mink. Wukong now caught up to the mink and prepared to make a little roadkill with his rod, but Ling Ji stopped him. Great sage, don't kill him, Ling Ji said. I still need to take him to see the Buddha. He used to be a rodent at the foot of the Spirit Mountain who attained the way. He stole some of the oil in the crystal chalice and dimmed the flames. Fearing that the guardians would catch him, he fled and became a demon here. The Buddha didn't think that he deserved the death penalty, so I was charged to capture him in the first place. But now he has offended you and tried to harm the Tang monk. I must take him to see the Buddha to receive his proper punishment. Only then will I have successfully completed my mission. So Wukong relented, and Ling Ji set off toward the west with the mink. Wukong then went to the woods and called for Zhu Bajie to come out with the horse and luggage. Bajie ran out and asked what happened. Wukong recounted how Ling Ji helped him, and then the two of them set off to save their master. They stormed into Yellow Wind Cave and killed all the demon lackeys. I guess only those who steal from the Buddha deserve mercy. In any case, Wukong and Bajie found Sanzang in the back of the cave. They told him the whole story of how Ling Ji helped defeat Yellowwind, and Sanzang was immensely grateful. They then gathered up the vegetarian food items in the cave and had themselves a nice meal, probably surrounded by the corpses of all the slain demon lackeys. Then they left the cave and resumed their journey west. The pilgrims crossed over Yellow Wind Ridge in less than a day and found themselves on flat land as they continued their trek. The days passed quickly, summer turned into fall, and the weather started to cool. One day, they came upon a wide, roaring river. Sanzang called out from his saddle, Pupils, look at how wide and fast that river is. I don't see any boats. How can we cross it? It really is a wild river, Bajie agreed. We can't cross without a boat. Wukong soared into the air to size up the river, and even he was taken aback. Master, this is really tough, he said. If it were just me, then all I have to do is twist and I'll be on the other side, but it's impossible for you to cross it. I can't even see the other side from here, Sanzang said. How wide is it? Maybe about 800 miles, Wukong guessed. Brother, how can you guess its width? Bajie asked. To tell you the truth, my eyes can see everything within 1,000 miles. I couldn't tell exactly how wide this river is from the air, but I could see it stretching out for 800 miles. Sanzang now sighed with worry and turned his horse around. That was when he saw a stone tablet on the bank. The pilgrims gathered around and saw 3 large characters on it, which said, Drifting Sand River. There were also 4 smaller lines of inscription, which read, The drifting sands 800 wide, the weak waters 3,000 deep. Goose feathers cannot float, reed flowers surely sink. Just as they were studying the tablet, the waves suddenly shot up like mountains and peaks, and an ugly demon shot out from the river. He had a head of wild red hair, 2 round eyes that glowed like lanterns, a blue and black face, and a voice that boomed like the roar of an ancient dragon. He wore a cape of yellow goose down, with 2 strands of white reeds wrapped around his waist. Around his neck hung a necklace of 9 human skulls, and in his hand was a Buddhist spade. So, I'm guessing that's the welcome wagon? To see how the pilgrims would deal with this latest obstacle, tune in to the next episode of the Chinese Lore Podcast. Thanks for listening.